Hi guys, I'm going to make my first YouTube video, my first cooking YouTube video, and this is predominantly for my son. Um, it was about 10 years ago. I owned a restaurant and owned it for 10 years and did a lot of cooking. This was one of the recipes that I made, and he really enjoyed it. He called me a couple days ago, or texted me, and said, "Hey Dad, do you have that recipe for the bruschetta? I remember you always made such great bruschetta, and I want that recipe so I can make it for an event I'm going to." I said, "Yes." That's all I said. And he didn't respond. I said, "You're going to have to call me because it's in my head. I don't have it written down anywhere." So he called me and I gave him the recipe, and he's like, "You remember that?" I'm like, "Of course I do. I made it for 10 years, so I remember how to make this stuff." And there's a funny story of that, because about 10 years ago, I was making one of Caleb's favorite dishes, and it was a pasta dish, and it was a penny pasta dish. And I said, "Caleb, you should come and watch this. I'll show you how to make this dish because you enjoy it so much, and you can make it, when you're out on your own." He's like, "No, Dad, if I need to know anything, I can just YouTube it." So I am making a YouTube for him today. So that's part of the reason why we're doing this, is for my son. So here's some of the ingredients that we'll start with. This is just called fresh bruschetta. We'll start with, we're going to have some green onion. We're going to have some fresh garlic cloves. We're going to have some fresh tomatoes. These happen to be Romas because they have the most texture on them instead of getting the meaty inside. I do have some diced tomatoes as well. That just adds some flavor and a little bit of the red to it. These aren't very red, as you can see. We do have some black olives. We have salt and pepper. We have Italian seasoning, and we have parsley. Normally I would use fresh parsley, but I just don't have any, so we're going to use that parsley. And then some olive oil, and we'll put it all together and we'll see what we come up with. So we'll get started, and I'll slice some of this stuff up, and then we'll cut back in and show you where we're at. So hold tight. Right now we're just cutting up some green onion, and we'll add this to our bruschetta mixture, and adds a great flavor, and presentation of the green is amazing, and with the red. So that's where we're going next. Several of the items are ready. Now we're going to start with the tomatoes. I chose Romas because they have the most exterior space versus a great big tomato. You get the inside mushy part, where this has a lot of the texture of the skin on it, so that's what I chose them for. So I'll basically show you, I just washed them, so I'm going to show you the size that we typically will cut them up into. I actually like my bruschetta fairly small, similar to what this is here, which is the diced tomatoes. So we're going to make them approximately that size. That's a pretty good size for bruschetta. We get the majority of the tomatoes cut up. So what we're going to do is we're going to take our diced up fresh tomatoes. We're going to add our canned diced tomatoes to that. We'll mix that together. Give us a good color mixture. Okay, and then from this stage, you just start adding all of your ingredients. The first thing to start with is some olive oil. And you can always adjust it or add more less, doesn't really matter. I typically don't measure anything, I just do it by sight, and we'll be tasting it, so we'll do it by taste as well. So you just want a good coating on all of the tomatoes. That looks pretty good. Then we will add, let's add the salt and pepper. Okay. Italian seasoning. Parsley. Black olives. And the green onion. And one of the most important aspects of it is the fresh garlic, because that absolutely makes it amazing. So this is fresh garlic that we pressed. And then we have to have a little sip of wine here. That's part of the cooking process, is we have a nice wine, nice red wine with that. Okay, so basically those are our ingredients, so we're just going to mix it up. And one thing that I have learned, because I said, I've made this, for many years, it's better the next day, and by the third day, it is absolutely phenomenal, because the fresh garlic permeates all of the other ingredients, and it is absolutely phenomenal after that. This is basically what we're looking at. So it's a fairly simple recipe. You can kind of judge it and look at it and say, it looks maybe a little dry, so I'm going to add a little more olive oil, because it's still, you don't see a lot of liquid on it. So we'll add a little bit more of that. Okay. That gives it a real robust flavor. And it soaks up all of the garlic and onion flavors, permeates the tomatoes. Okay, so once you get this done, there's your ingredients for fresh bruschetta. The next step that we'll go to is we'll show you how to do the French batard, or the baguette, whichever you choose to use, and then we'll come back. Okay, we're back. So we're going to start with the French batard, and we'll show you how to prepare that and get it ready for your fresh bruschetta. So what we do first is we take the French batard, and I like to cut it at an angle. It just gives, instead of just cutting straight pieces, I typically cut it at a 45 degree like this, and I use about a 1/4 inch thick slice. So we cut a bunch of these. Okay, once we get all those cut, then I'll show you what we do. And then we take those, we'll set them over here for now. And we take the olive oil, and you put it on a little saucer, plate, or whatever works for you, whatever you have around your house that will hold that liquid in there. Then you take some Italian seasoning. Sprinkle that over the fresh olive oil. Then you just take your little batard. You just dip it in there. Dip it in there. There. So you have a oil covered batard or baguette with some Italian seasoning on it. And you'll put that on your cookie sheet. And you do that for the whole loaf and get it all. And then you'll bake that in the oven for about 15 minutes at 300 degrees. Pop it in the oven. Amazon. Turn the upper oven on to 325. So we're preheating our oven at 325 right now. So when that's up temperature, we'll pop this in there for about 15 to 20 minutes, and it'll crisp up that bread and it'll brown a little bit. You maybe have to flip them once, and then you can use that as your base. You'll put your, we'll show you, we'll put your fresh bruschetta over that, put a little mozzarella cheese over that, and you'll have a delicious meal. crispy up. Got them in the oven there. Waiting on that one. So we'll take it out. Put it over here on the cooktop. All right, so that's how you want it to look. You want it to be a little crispy. You can see it's a little crispy because if your liquids and your oils and stuff from your bruschetta soak up into the bread, so you want it fairly crispy. And it's got a nice golden tone to it. So we'll take some of these little petards, we'll put them on the plate. Okay, so from this point, what we'll do is we'll have 2 little serving plates, since there's 2 of us. We'll make 3 little petards. And we'll take the fresh bruschetta. And what you can do, if you don't want a lot of the liquid, you can actually get a slotted spoon. And then you don't get a lot of the oil and stuff on it. So then, like so. And then you'll take your cheese and you just spread that over the top. There you go. There's a nice serving of fresh bruschetta.
And the plant-based version, because my husband loves me.
There you go. So there you go. So we have a nice little display of fresh bruschetta on a French petard. The only thing we need now is we need a glass of wine to go with that. And you're set for a wonderful meal. Tomorrow it'll be even better because that garlic will soak into those tomatoes and it'll be phenomenal. So there you go. That's how you make fresh bruschetta. And this is for my son. And then if you want to watch kind of what we did with our little bit of our kitchen remodel to make all of this happen, because I enjoy cooking so much, stay tuned afterwards and watch some just a real short tutorial of what we did in our kitchen. All right. All this happened because Erin enjoys a nice kitchen, and because I do most of the cooking, I cook 2 meals a day, one for her and one for me, because she does not eat animal products. So I do a lot of cooking in the house. One thing that's really nice is we put in the refrigerator right here, close to the cooking area. So if we need some cauliflower or some cilantro or mushrooms or the green onions, we have them right here handy. And we have beverages in the bottom refrigerator portion. So you can have a beverage there, water, soda, adult beverages.
So we would highly recommend getting one of these under-the-counter refrigerators instead of a set of cabinets.
And the other nice feature is the double oven. So what I can do is I can have a temperature at the top cooking one thing, and I can have something in the bottom at a totally different temperature cooking at a different time and temperature. We built in the refrigerators right here. We have 2 of them. That one's mostly for produce and more of Erin's products, and this is more of our general one. We did the big cabinet here. Now, in these cabinets, they typically come as just shelves. Like there was like 2 shelves in each one of them. So what I did is I designed it. I built these, which are the pull-outs. So it's a lot easier to get to your items way back here. You know what's actually in your cabinets. So we made that a little more user-friendly. And then we also did the same thing kind of over here. We just bought a regular cabinet. and some doors. I put the doors on this one. Built the same kind of cabinets in here, so these all pull out. You can see all the way to the back what's in there, and you can typically get to them that way. So one other thing that we can do that Erin really wanted, she wanted lights underneath the cabinet, so we added some lights. And what we can do is we can change them. So we have them to the system over here, the Alexa system. So what we do, we've named it Amazon out here. So we Amazon change kitchen lights to warm. So you can see that the light color changed. So we can command it to do certain things. Amazon, change the kitchen lights to cool. So there you go, we've changed the lights. And another thing that I did that Erin was a little bit opposed to, but she conceded after I pleaded for a while and showed her that it would fit. I built this piece here. This is a workbench, basically, for the kitchen, a butcher block. And it actually houses all of our pots and pans, the bowls on the other side. I made a shelf here. I actually bought a shelf, but I made it so that this can pop up. I can put this up here. So I have an extra workspace if needed, if I need more space to do things with. And on the other side, I built a drawer in, so it has a nice drawer. It's got all my utensils, everything that I need to do the cooking and food preparation. So, and then it has bowls, some pots and pans at the bottom, and a great big bowl at the end. So, and then if you come around to this side, I put all of my rubs and everything up here. So when I smoke meat and stuff, I have all of my seasonings right here. So that's basically it. When we moved here, we had all electric, and we did change to a propane cooktop because I had this where we lived before in Missouri, and we just really enjoyed it. So we redesigned this kitchen and brought in propane gas and built this in so we would have propane cooktop. So we really enjoy cooking that way. So.